All right, everyone. Welcome to this full moon Sidereal astrology forecast. This is for December 1st through the 3rd of 2017 with the full moon on the 3rd Sunday. So a lot going on this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We have a full moon in Taurus. Yes, Taurus, if you were expecting me to say Gemini, be sure to check out the link down below. We're using the actual size of the constellations. So if you were to look up at the sky, you would actually see the full moon in Taurus, not Gemini, for example. So do check that out. But anyways, full moon in Taurus squaring up to Neptune. Full moons are a time of a status check, and they are a time of integration. And so integrating these qualities of Taurus, which is steadiness, stability, by connecting to our inner resources, our inner sense of self-worth, self-reliance, and the stability that that brings. Also becoming aware of our values as well with this. Okay, so great time to do a status check, great time to develop these qualities of earth, steadiness, our values. But with the square up to Neptune, there is this disillusionment. So if you're feeling that or any apathy, there is healthy ways of working with this, essentially letting go of what's outside of our control. As I say a lot, living more presently, right? This is an excellent time to do this, which we'll look at a little bit more in detail. But a lot going on, because with this, Venus is shifting into Scorpio. She's the ruler of Taurus. The sun's been in Scorpio last week, so it has been this awareness about the deeper side of life. And that's really what balances Taurus. Where Taurus is about our resources in the earth, Scorpio is about everything beyond the surface level of things, the depth. And so that is becoming, and has been becoming, more illuminated. And I think with Venus there, it's going to be adding to that. And us seeing that it'll be through going deeper, we'll be finding more about what we truly value in life. So with this full moon on Sunday, we have Mercury going retrograde on Sunday. We'll talk about Jupiter is trining up to Neptune, which is a very nice aspect actually, going on all the way into August. So it is nice to have Jupiter in trine to this Neptune that's squaring the full moon. We'll talk about that. And then if that's not enough, we have Mars opposite Uranus on Friday leading up to Sunday, which has been a bit of that anxious energy or wanting to break free, which I've been talking about in the last forecast. But we'll talk about that along with everything else here in more detail when we return. All right, so let's break this down one by one here, looking at the full moon, because the full moon is the sort of backdrop to all of this. And again, it is going to be on Sunday, and it is going to be at 12:10 Eastern time, for those of you who want the exact time there. Here's the chart. We have the moon, full moon right in the middle of Taurus, and the sun over here. It's been in Scorpio the past week, and Venus recently now on Sunday, slowly but surely going into Scorpio. And again, the ruler of Taurus really emphasizes this scorpionic energy. So what is Taurus? Taurus is the bull. And if you look at a bull, right, very stable, takes things one step at a time, steady. So this is the quality of ourself. These qualities are what we're going to be developing and integrating with ourself. So as humans, this is about our own resourcefulness. It is about our self-reliance, right, and our sense of self-worth, and even our natural gifts as well. There can be a lot of illumination about what are our natural gifts, natural abilities. So the key here is illumination. It's awareness. What is it that we value in life? Maybe in an external level, certainly values, but in a fundamental level, what is it that we have within ourselves that is a value, our inner resources, right? And so integrating these qualities of connecting to that. And through that, it's stable, right? When you're connected to your inner resource, we're stable, steady, right? Taking things one step at a time, grounded, earthy, right? Very earth related. And so this is what the collective energy is integrating. But with this, like I said, there is this T-square up to Neptune, making it perhaps a bit, all this whole sort of energy, perhaps a bit, uncertain. There's this very deep energy about it, especially with this Scorpio stuff as well. So with the square to Neptune, I do recommend, if you are feeling any uncertainty, apathy, disillusionment, anything like this, to really use the square constructively, which essentially means putting into practice. How can you put into practice these spiritual things in your life? This could be meditation, this could be prayer, this could be just connecting to your present moment, which is essentially what meditation is, connecting to God, which is essentially what prayer is, and just really living in that present, right? Living in that connection, being connected, seeing that, there is this divine perfection about life. And I think we're going to be seeing that with Jupiter trining Neptune. Jupiter's all about wisdom, really supporting that, but maybe doing the work to integrate this with the square. All right, maybe those physical activities like meditation or prayer or whatever it is that's going to help us live more presently. So that's great. And through this, a very constructive approach to living in this more accepting way. It's essentially what Neptune's helping us do, is be more accepting of the present moment, of ourself, of life. And so great time to be practicing this kind of stuff this weekend. So with that watery energy of Neptune, there's the watery energy of Scorpio, but where, Neptune is more about the undercurrent and spiritual energy, Scorpio is about that deeper energy. Could even say psychological energy, the energy which is about going within or going deeper in life to transform, right? To become more aware of the deeper. So that's already been going on this past week. Venus is shifting into here this weekend. So it's really emphasizing the balance part of Taurus, that in order to cultivate our values and our resourcefulness, right? And this earthy energy, we do have to go deep, right? We do have to connect to everything that is beyond the surface. We have to go deep within ourselves. We have to go deep within life, the sun illuminating this. What is it we truly value? And even accept all these deep things that maybe we've brushed under the rug about our self, life, relationships, whatever it is, that now is the time of accepting that, right? The water energy is about acceptance. And through this acceptance, it's very transformational, right? We face the fears, we accept them, and then even taking it one step further is taking action in the face of those fears, especially because the full moon, like I said, it's this active time. Really good for implementation. So implementing anything in the face of fears that we know, by doing so, we will transform. So very powerful with that Scorpio energy, very powerful full moon, especially because we have so much going on astrologically. Yeah, that's the general gist of this full moon type of energy. I do recommend watching your weekly too, if you haven't yet seen that, to see which houses this is pertaining to. Now, let's talk about Mercury retrograde. So pretty much at the same time as the full moon, right before it, in fact. So for those of you that want to see, here's the full moon on Sunday, the 3rd. Right before that, Mercury going retrograde. And by the way, this square up to Neptune is very exact. You can see here the sun squares Neptune within a few hours, the moon within a few minutes. Very close square to that Neptune, right? Really adding to that. But anyways, Mercury retrograde for the next few weeks. Mercury is barely in Sagittarius. So I think it's going to be playing both in the Sagittarius and Ophiuchus side of it. In fact, that's where Mercury's coming back, is into Ophiuchus and into Scorpio. So this is about, again, the depth. But where Scorpio is simply about depth, Ophiuchus is specifically about healing. So time for the next few weeks to go back and maybe do some healing. All right? Rethink some of this stuff, redo it, re-examine it. And I always recommend with Mercury retrograde to be as flexible as possible. Just be open to learning, right, during these next few weeks about these things. And again, check your weekly to see which house, but about healing, about this deep stuff that we can, again, accept and through that heal. So that's part of it. But what is shaping up with the Sagittarius side of it is our perspective. I think our perspective on things is changing a bit. Time to re-examine our beliefs. Time to re-examine our worldview, our perspective. Okay, so there's a pause with that this weekend and a re-examination. And then again, yes, this going back into, relearning about the depth, healing, acceptance, and transformation. The result of, when we heal, feeling transformed. And there will be a lot through December of this type of, us learning more about transformation in our life, doing the healing, and feeling healed and rejuvenated as a result of that. All right, and Mercury will be getting closer to Saturn as well. Already went over Saturn earlier in the week, so next week early, Mercury's going to go back over Saturn, suggesting that, we've already been doing a lot of work with this. Saturn has been in Scorpio and Ophiuchus these past 2 years, been doing a lot of work with healing, but now it's time to maybe finish that up, revisit some things, tie up some loose ends. All right, so that's the Mercury retrograde. Jupiter trining up to Neptune. Very close to the full moon too, but late Saturday if you want to look at it specifically here, Eastern time. Jupiter trining Neptune, a very important aspect because it involves two very slow-moving planets, Jupiter and Neptune. And this is the first of these aspects. It is going to be going on all the way into August of 2018, and it is a very supportive one. It's a very nice one, and I like to see this, especially with Neptune in that full moon square. So this is where we are seeing collectively this sort of life path unfolding in this divine way, in this perfected way, seeing the perfection of life. And through that, yes, there is this quality we're developing about more acceptance, about willing to go with the flow, about being open to the divine process, right? So very, very nice. And I think anything that is Neptune related, such as artisticness, anything that involves imagination, meditation, prayer, all this spiritual stuff, right? Anything that's receptive in our life. Very, very good time for this. Even philosophically, spiritually, when it comes to the ideas and the philosophies, a lot of us could be learning a lot about certain types of spiritual teachings or wisdom that is involved with spirituality or psychology or art, anything that is, again, on that receptive level. So that's the collective energy. Very nice here. And there could even be some new beginnings of this in our personal life, of now implementing this receptive approach, this easier, more willing to be receptive approach going into next year. All right, so that is essentially Saturday, Sunday, okay? The moon will be in Taurus both days, full moon in Taurus, so this whole status check, this awareness. There will be insight this week, and I can almost guarantee it with all this going on. So good to be aware of that. And then through that awareness, I think next week, implementing what we do gain insight about. All right, now let's talk about Friday, because Friday is a little different here leading up to the full moon. The moon will be in Aries. We'll still be feeling, I'm sure, that full moon stuff. But this could be a theme on Friday, maybe regarding Aries qualities of self-assertiveness, of independence, autonomy. This general theme of maybe feeling like we need to will ourselves to take some action, or we're just much more direct and assertive, and there's themes pertaining to this. So the reason that's so important is because Mars, the ruler of Aries, is going to be opposite up to Uranus, which does suggest this feeling of wanting to break free with what we want, wanting to, change and have more freedom in our life based on what we want, based on our desires. Now, because it's in opposition, it is important to do this with balance. This is the key. Now, Uranus is showing us what we need or want for our freedom. So our life or environment or whatever it is more of a reflection of what we're truly about. But because it's involving Mars, that very strong ego, that desire, those personal needs being very strong and maybe even restricted, it is very important to do this in a balanced way. So I think the key with this is to bring some awareness to this. And maybe it's about our environment with the opposition or someone else or something like that. But it is about bringing awareness to ourselves. And through that, it can help us maintain that balance. But like I was saying in the last video, do listen to that freedom. There is something Uranus is telling us or teaching us, you could say, about more freedom in our life. Maybe making some changes to do that, but making those changes in, again, those healthy and balanced ways. All right, so that is the weekend. Most of it is concentrated on Sunday with the full moon. Again, Taurus, this awareness of our values and what we have within ourselves to attain our values, and knowing too that we do have everything within us to attain the things that we truly value in life. Not everything the mind may come up with that we want, but what we truly value. There's a connection with that and the inner resources that we do have to cultivate them. And it is about becoming more aware of this now, developing this self-awareness, self-esteem, self-efficacy, the belief that we can pursue our values, this greater sense of self-worth through this connection to our inner resources and the stability that brings, the steadiness that brings. Balancing that with Scorpio, not being afraid to go deep. There's a lot being illuminated. It's a great time for this. We can even be valuing it. In fact, with Venus going into Scorpio, we can be enjoying the depth, enjoying this deeper connection to things, okay? And seeing the value of that, which is great. So with the square to Neptune, yes, there's uncertainty, but living in the present moment, anything we can do constructive is great with that to bring more presence. And what's nice is that Neptune is going to be trining Jupiter, supporting this, helping us see the big picture, helping us see those perspectives. And with Mercury going retrograde in Sagittarius, yes, we're going to be re-examining some of those perspectives and belief systems, but that's good. That's going to help us, develop these healthier qualities about being open-minded and going with the flow along the life journey. Now, what Mercury retrograde is going to do is re-examine some of this deep healing, right? Some things to relearn about this, to go back in, rehash, finish with that Saturn finishing Ophiuchus. Okay? So that's the key. It's mainly the concentration on Sunday with a bit of that Mars opposite Uranus balance we'll be integrating before that. So have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you all very soon for the Monday Daily Horoscope. Take care.